think we'll go ahead and get started. It's my desire today that if we get through the hearing and are able to work both bills, that we won't meet tomorrow. With that, I'd like to turn our attention to opening the hearing on 2160. And Adam, can you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2160 would exempt from the secure load requirements for trucks, trailers, or semi-trailers when hauling cotton bales transported by the producer intrastate from the place of production or storage to a market, place of storage, or place of use if the following requirements or following conditions are met. The cotton bales are fully loaded from front to back on such truck, trailer, or semi-trailer in a single layer. The truck, trailer, or semi-trailer is equipped with cradles, and the truck, trailer, or semi-trailer is equipped with stakes or side posts that are not less than 12 inches high. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee questions for Adam. Senator Reddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this bill was modified, it looks like, from the House. It took out, it doesn't impact the federal Internal Revenue Code, correct? The fiscal impact was like 17 million. Is that removed out of this one then?
Any impact that would come to I can't really speak to that. Those are usually based off of budget appropriations from the Fed, so I can't really speak to if this bill, that'd be more of either a ks.gov issue than I can speak to at this point.
Sure. No, I just thought that was the modification that was made in the current bill. Thank you.
Senator Reddy, I do believe that they modified this in the House to limit it just to the producer so we would not lose the federal highway funds. But we have Mike Kamey in the audience, and if he wouldn't mind answering that question.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Mike Kamey, Kansas Corporation Commission. You're correct. We worked with several representatives on this bill for the amendment, and it is specific to farmers and does not jeopardize the highway funds or mix-up funds.
Thank you. Mix-up's the word I was looking for, the acronym. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions for Adam or Senator Tyson? Okay. So first up, we have Sharia Stafford, Kansas Cooperative Council. Welcome to Transportation Committee.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing me back. I was just here last week, so I won't get into too much about who the Kansas Co-op Council is, but I'm Shahira Stafford. I'm representing the Kansas Cooperative Council. And the reason that this bill is important to us, most of our co-op members are ag retail cooperatives, farmer-owned cooperatives, and that includes 2 cotton gins in Kansas that have 3 locations. The Northwest Cotton Growers and the Southern Kansas Cotton Growers are both cooperatives. We also have a member with gins located in Texas with a regional member, Plains Cotton Cooperative Association, which is a grower-owned cotton cooperative with a warehouse in Clearwater, Kansas. There are roughly 130 cotton growers across 27 counties in the southern part of our state. In my testimony, I do have some facts about the cotton industry in Kansas. I'll just note out one typo on the 3rd bullet point there. A finished bale does not weigh 480 pounds. It weighs 480,000 pounds. So I apologize for that edit, but nearly 5,000 pounds is what a bale of cotton weighs. So cotton ginning season in southern, central, and southwest Kansas is from August to December. In December of 2021, we began seeing an uptick in round cotton bale enforcement on both commercial carriers and farmers. This resulted in a year of discussion with the cotton industry and state agencies, reviewing state and federal regulations to determine how to enforce and regulate the securement of round cotton bales. At that time, we received guidance from the Kansas Highway Patrol that high stakes are sufficient to meet secure load requirements if strapping is not possible. House Bill 2160 would exempt the transport of cotton bales from secured load requirements under certain conditions. The bill applies to producer haulers only. Senator, you had asked about the changes that were made on the House side, and like the chairman mentioned, we did take out commercial, so it is just for farmer producers only. The House also took out the 150-mile radius for transport, but they did keep it intrastate, so it is only for in-state transportation. The exemption would only apply, the exempt vehicles would have to be equipped with cradles and side posts that are a minimum of 1 foot high. Additionally, exempt cotton bale loads would have to be loaded from front to back in a single layer on the vehicle. I won't get into too much more. We have two conferees here today. One, Dan Metz, will be speaking virtually. He will be talking about this from a producer point of view. And then Gary Feist in the audience is here, and he will be talking to you about and be able to answer questions from a Jenner's point of view. So we do believe that this common sense policy would allow our cotton gins to move trucks faster back to the field while ensuring that cotton bales are still securely tied down in adequate manners. I will be happy to stand for questions at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Committee questions? Senator Cluse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious, like most semis have a gross 80,000 weight total, what kind of a difference would it be then, or do you know?
I think we would still be responsible to stay within those guidelines. Gary? I don't think transporting cotton bales would remove us from that restriction, from that.
Oh, so from the weight aspect, that wouldn't change overall, but.
No, I'm Gary Feist, Southern Kansas Cotton. They're going to weigh 5,000, you're hauling 8, so you're only hauling 40,000 pounds gross.
Okay, thank you.
Committee, further questions? Seeing none, we'll turn our attention to the next proponent is Dan Metz. I believe he's on WebEx. Dan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good morning to the Senate Transportation Committee. My name is Dan Metz. I'm board chairman at Southern Kansas Cotton Growers. I'm a member of the Kansas Cotton Association. I'm a cotton farmer in Sumner County, Kansas. And I've been hauling round bales of cotton for the last 4 years, and I'm a proponent of House Bill 2160. I believe that all loads of cotton should be secure during transport from the field to the gin. I would like to recognize, however, that there are cotton trailers that have the physical restraints built into their design for the specific purpose of hauling cotton round bales safely and securely to the gin without the need of a strap to hold the cotton in place. These trailers, and here's some pictures. I don't know if you can see that or if it needs to be zoomed in, but these trailers have restraints or cradles built into their design that keeps the cotton from moving forwards or backwards. And if you can see right on the front of that trailer, that restraint or that bar that goes across that bale, that's the restraints we're talking on the front and the back. Do you have that picture? There's the picture. I have the picture here. But you can see and there's another one. There's the bar across the front of the trailer and the stakes down the side, a single layer, all the bales compressed against each other and touching the trailer floor. These loads are secure. Now, here's a picture of a trailer that's just a flatbed trailer with no restraints whatsoever. And we believe those should continue to be strapped. And I would say you rarely see anybody hauling cotton on a flatbed trailer anymore. They recognize the value of having the trailer with the restraints built into it. And then there'll be a picture of a trailer that's double stacked. It's got the layer on top. We believe those should continue to be strapped as well. They're just, it's a little top heavy and the top layer's resting on the bottom layer. We believe those should be strapped as well. So, with that, I don't know if there's any questions, but we just feel like that the trailers that the farmers have made the investment in for the specific purpose of hauling cotton, that those loads are secure.
Committee questions for Dan? Seeing none, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Next, we have Gary. Were you wanting to speak as a proponent? And will you provide us written testimony? Excellent. Welcome to committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senators. I'm Gary Feist. I happen to be chairman of the Kansas Cotton Association. I'm a producer and I've been I'm a gin manager for two of the gins in Kansas at Southern Kansas Cotton Growers. And some of the issues that we have from the gin standpoint with strapping is, the first thing is the strapping. And when them trucks come in, we use big payloaders to unload them. And if they do have to strap, that driver's going to be around the load. And so when that loader's hitting that bale to unload it, it stands a big risk of that driver. No matter how much you tell them to get back, they're going to be around the other side rolling their straps. So we had a little issue with that when we had to strap for 2 days there last year. And then if they're around that truck and there's 7-foot forks on them loaders, and if one of them malfunctions and that bale breaks, they weigh 5,000 pounds, so it's going to be a crushing issue. And then the other issue is the driver. For farmer's identity, his driver, usually it's a farmer's hired man, his responsibility is to mark the module with the module number we give on that particular load, and then his account number, what field it comes from. So that's his responsibility to mark them. So after the loader puts them in line, he marks them. And the other issue is during the heart of the season, we'll sometimes get in maybe 100 to 110 trucks during the heart of the season. That's just in daylight hours, because we don't unload at night just because of a safety issue and keep our bales to the rightful owner. When you got 5,000 bales out there and they're all yellow and look alike lined up, you got to have a mark on them. So, and then in all the time that I've been gin manager, which is from '98 on, of course, we didn't have round bales start as modules, but we probably had round bales now 6 years. We've never lost one off of a flatbed trailer. We have lost 2 or 3 that they stacked on top. So I made it a gin rule 3 or 4 years ago that they couldn't unload a load in our gin yard if they didn't strap that top bale. And because it's like anything else. If they got 9 bales, they're going to try and stick that other on. And we did have a few coming in at the start when we started with round bales that didn't strap that top one. And we made it a rule that they had to strap that top one. And if you got any other questions, another thing is a time constraint. With that many trucks lined up, we work very hard to get them trucks out of the yard and back to the field. And if we got unstrapped, that takes a lot of time. Where they come in unstrapped, we can go to unloading the minute they stop. Thank you. Any questions?
Committee questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Committee note, written only testimony from John Donnelly. Are there any further proponents? Are there any opponents? Any neutrals? We'll close the hearing on House Bill 2160. Committee, I would like to work this bill today. That way we won't have to be here tomorrow if it's all right with the committee. Seen a lot of head nods. That's a good thing. I do have an amendment, and it's in line 30 I would like to change the wording in line 30 to propose we go to a truck, trailer, or semi-trailer is equipped with stakes, and in my amendment would be comma sideboards inserted in there before or side posts that are a minimum of not less than 12 inches high. And make that as a motion. Seconded by Senator Dietrich. Further discussion? Adam, do you got that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you explain a little bit more on the amendment?
Well, I'd seen this bill. I knew it was coming over a week or so ago, and I saw a vehicle that had some removable stakes with boards on the inside of them. It was a farmer's truck, it was a flatbed semi-trailer. But behind, on the inside of the stakes, it had a 12-inch tall, may have been 16 board that looked like it was removable. I thought some of the farmers have those, you know, they're attached to the stakes, so it may not be actually considered stakes, but I'd want that to be considered as secured.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Committee, further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the amendment is adopted. Committee, what's your pleasure on the bill? Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we move out House Bill 2160 as amended favorably.
We have a motion seconded by Senator Corson. Motion by Senator Dietrich, seconded by Senator Corson. Any further discussion? Senator Reddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to be sure, because even in the supplemental of this one, it still says that we would be non-compliant with the federal safety standards. I'm thinking that's not the case anymore. Is that correct?
That is correct. Once they put it to just producers, that eliminated us from being out of mix-app compliance.
Okay.
You can look at the two guys from the KCC just nod their heads yes. So
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that's exactly what it was, because I would hate for us to be non-compliant with federal standards and the funding and sources and such. So I appreciate the response. Thank you.
just for your information, when I first read the bill, I pulled up the one that was as introduced, and I read that, and I picked up the phone, and I called, and I got a hold of Gary Davenport at the KCC. I was trying to get a hold of Mike Hamey, but his phone was rolled over, and I wanted to make sure that we've had several bills and amendments that we thought we were doing some good things and had the potential of costing us some serious money. With that, see no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, bill's on its way. Committee like to turn our attention to a bill we heard yesterday on the possessory lien titles, 2147. Adam, could you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2147 require that a provider of a wrecker or towing service shall provide a certification of compliance to a purchaser upon the sale or transfer of a vehicle. Upon receiving the certification of compliance would allow the purchaser to apply for and receive a certificate of title from the Division of Vehicles as free and clear of liens, security interests, and encumbrances.
Committee, we heard this bill yesterday. I would like to amend the effective date on that. But committee, what's your pleasure on the bill? Motion by Senator Cluse to pass the bill out favorably as amended with the enacting date in the register. Was that? Yes. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Corson. Further discussion. Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarification, the amendment is to Section 5 of the bill, and the proposed amendment is this act shall take effect and be enforced from and after January 1, 2024, and its publication in the Kansas Register. Is that the language of the amendment?
Maybe that's not the best amendment to use to get this into conference. Or will that work, Adam?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. This still should be fine. The bill itself, there's kind of a double enactment date. There's the whole bill under what currently wouldn't go into effect until January 1 and publication of the statute book. So if you switch it to Kansas Register, it really has no effect of when the underlying bill goes into effect. So it would still work fine.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we weren't losing that January 1, 2024 date in the amendment, and it sounds like we are not. So thank you.
Thanks for following up. Committee, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. And I'm very thankful that Senator Bowers volunteered to help me carry this bill. She deals with a lot of titles and will be able to answer a lot of more questions than I will. With that, committee, appreciate your work this year so far. I don't believe we will need to have any more meetings, so just be saying on call the chair. With that, we are adjourned.